Captain Zillineth moved her crystal hands across the control panel of the mining ship Kelthara. The ship was small but strong, built for finding and taking rare metals from the rocks that floated in space. She had been doing this job for many years and loved the quiet peace of working far from her home world. The Vexian people were known across the galaxy for being gentle and smart. They made the best mining tools and always shared what they found with other peaceful worlds. The asteroid field around them was full of valuable metals. Her crew of 12 had been working here for 3 months and had collected enough rare materials to make their whole planet rich for years. The work was hard but safe. Nothing ever happened in this far corner of space. Pirates and armies stayed away from places like this because there was nothing here worth fighting for except rocks and metal. Zillineth looked at her crew working at their stations. Each one was focused on their job. The mining beams cut through rock like knives through soft clay. The collection systems pulled the metals into the ship's storage areas. Everything was working perfectly. She felt happy and proud of her team. Communications Officer Veltar was young and excited about his first deep space mission. He had been checking the long-range sensors every few minutes, hoping to see something interesting. Most of the time, there was nothing but empty space and floating rocks. That was how things were supposed to be in the outer territories. "Captain, I am reading something strange on the sensors," Veltar said. His voice was quiet but worried. "There are 3 large objects moving toward us very fast." Zillineth moved to look at his screen. 3 shapes were coming out of hyperspace. Near their location, they were much bigger than the Kelthara and moving in a formation that looked military. Her crystal skin began to glow with fear. The Vexian people had not seen war for hundreds of years. They had forgotten what real danger looked like. "Can you tell what kind of ships they are?" she asked. Veltar worked with his controls for a moment. "I think they are Kronak ships, Captain. The computer says they are heavy battle cruisers." The name made everyone on the bridge stop what they were doing. The Kronak Empire was known throughout the galaxy as a group of warriors who took what they wanted by force. They had been growing stronger and bolder in recent years. Many peaceful worlds had asked the Galactic Coalition for protection, but the Coalition moved slowly and was afraid to start a real war. The 3 Kronak ships finished their jump and began moving toward the Kelthara. They were dark and covered with weapons. Each one was 10 times bigger than the mining ship. Zillineth knew her ship had no real weapons and weak shields. They were miners, not fighters. "Send a message to them," she ordered. "Tell them we are peaceful miners from the Vexian Republic. Ask them what they want." Veltar sent the message but got no answer. The Kronak ships kept coming closer. Their weapons were powering up. Red lights began flashing on the Keltharas. Control panels as the ship's computer detected the targeting systems pointing at them. Commander Vekmer stood on the bridge of the lead Kronak ship. He was tall and covered with thick armor that was built into his skin. His people were born to fight and had been doing it for so long that they could not imagine living any other way. To him, the small mining ship was just another weak target, to be taken and used. "Scan their ship," he told his weapons officer. "Find out what they have that we can use." The scan showed that the Kelthara was full of rare metals worth more than most planets made in a year. The ship itself was not valuable, but the materials inside could buy weapons and supplies for his battle group for months. "They have valuable cargo, Commander," the weapons officer reported. "Should we take it?" Vekmer smiled with teeth that looked like knives. "Disable their engines. We will take everything they have and leave them floating in space. Maybe someone will find them before they die." The first blast from the Kronak ships hit the Kelthara-S engine section. The mining ship shook like a leaf in a storm. Lights went out across the ship, and emergency alarms began screaming. The engine room reported that their main power was gone and they could not move. Zillineth held onto her chair as another blast hit their shields. The barriers that protected them were not made for war. They were meant to stop small rocks and radiation. The Chronoc weapons were designed to break through the shields of warships. The Keltharus defenses lasted only seconds. "Captain, our shields are down," called the engineering officer. "One more hit and they will break through our hull." Zillineth felt her hope dying. Her crew looked to her for answers she did not have. The Vexian people had always solved problems with smart thinking and careful planning. But there was no smart answer to 3 warships that wanted to take everything and kill everyone. "Are our communications still working?" she asked. "Yes, Captain." The communication array was not damaged. Zillineth made a decision that would change the galaxy forever. Send a distress signal on all frequencies. Include our location and what is happening to us. Ask for help from anyone who can hear us. Veltar's hands moved quickly over his controls. "What should I say, Captain?" "Tell them we are peaceful miners under attack by Chronoc ships." "Give them our coordinates. Tell them we need immediate help." She paused and thought about the words that might be her last message to the universe. "Tell them we are about to die, and we do not want to die alone." The message went out across space on every frequency the ship could reach. It included the old emergency channels that most civilizations had stopped watching years ago. The signal traveled faster than light, reaching systems that were many days away by ship travel. On the Chronoc ships, Commander Thekmer watched his boarding teams get ready to take the mining ship. His warriors were excited about easy prey and valuable cargo. This would be another simple victory for the Chronoc Empire. Another example of how the weak deserve to be ruled by the strong. He did not know that far away, in a solar system called Sol, a human named Jake Morrison was working the night shift at Luna Station. Jake had been listening to space communications for 3 years and had never heard anything more interesting than automated weather reports from mining stations. When the Vexian distress signal reached his equipment, Jake first thought it was a mistake. Real aliens asking for help seemed impossible. But the signal was clear and the mathematics were right. Someone was in trouble and asking anyone in the universe to save them. Jake reached for his communication device with hands that were shaking with excitement and fear. He was about to make the call that would bring humanity into contact with the galaxy for the first time. He was about to start a chain of events that would make Earth's children the protectors of worlds they had never seen and people they had never imagined. In the asteroid field, the Chronoc ships moved closer to their helpless prey. Commander Thekmer did not know that his easy victory was about to become the worst mistake the Chronoc Empire had ever made. Jake Morrison stared at his screen for 10 seconds before his training took over. The signal was real, and someone was dying while he sat there thinking about it. He grabbed his communication device and called his supervisor, Commander Lisa Parker. She answered on the second ring, sounding tired and ready to deal with another false alarm. "What is it this time, Jake? Another weather satellite acting up?" "Commander, you need to get down here right now. We just received a distress signal from what appears to be an alien spacecraft. They are under attack and asking for immediate help." The silence on the other end lasted so long that Jake thought the connection had failed. Then Lisa's voice came back, sharp and focused. "I am on my way. Do not tell anyone else about this until I get there." Jake sat alone in the communication center, listening to the alien message play over and over again. The mathematics were perfect. The coordinates were clear. Someone in space was about to die, and they had asked Earth for help. Lisa Parker arrived within minutes, still putting on her uniform jacket. She was one of the best communication officers in the Earth fleet and had been hoping for this day her entire career. First contact with alien life was the dream of every person who worked in space. "Play it again," she said. They listened to the message together. The computer had already started working on the language, finding patterns in the Yungle. Sounds that might be words. And mathematical parts were easy to understand. Location, time, danger. Someone was in trouble. "How old is this signal?" Lisa asked. "It arrived 14 minutes ago." Based on the distance to these coordinates, the signal traveled for 6 days. To reach us, Lisa felt her heart sink. If the message was 6 days old, the people who sent it were probably already dead. But she had to try. The first rule of space rescue was that you never gave up hope until you knew for sure. Contact Admiral Rodriguez on the Use Defiance immediately. Use priority emergency codes. Admiral Carl Rodriguez was sleeping when the call came in. He had been commanding the Terran Expeditionary Fleet for 5 years and was used to emergency calls. Most of them turned out to be equipment failures or minor accidents. But when he heard the words, "alien distress signal," he was wide awake and moving. Toward his bridge, the Terran Expeditionary Fleet was Earth's first real deep space military force. 15 ships designed to explore, protect, and fight if necessary. Admiral Rodriguez had trained his crews for many situations, but first contact with aliens in the middle of a battle was not one of them. "Get me a full tactical meeting in 10 minutes, he ordered as he reached the bridge. "Wake up everyone who needs to be awake." Captain Amy Johnson was the first to arrive in the conference room. She commanded the U.E.'s Thunderstrike, a heavy cruiser built for long-range missions. Amy had joined the space fleet because she wanted to see new worlds and meet new people. She had always hoped those new people would be friendly. Commander Ben Torres came next. He was in charge of fleet security, and his job was to worry about everything that could go wrong. The idea of jumping into an alien war made him nervous, but he knew his duty. Lieutenant Sam Davis was the fleet's expert on alien life. He had studied every theory about what aliens might be like and how they might think. Now he was about to find out if any of his books had been right. Chief Engineer Rita Walsh knew more about the fleet's capabilities than anyone else. If they were going to travel to the coordinates in the alien message, she needed to calculate how much fuel they would need and how long it would take. Admiral Rodriguez played the alien message for his senior staff. The room was quiet as they listened to sounds that came from a mind that had never seen Earth. "The signal is 6 days old," he said. "These people might already be dead. But they asked for help, and we are the only ones who can give it." Captain Johnson spoke first. "Sir, we have to go. Someone called for help, and we answered. That is what we do." Commander Torres was not so sure. "Admiral, we know nothing about these aliens or the ones attacking them. We could be walking into a trap or making enemies of people who might have been our friends." Lieutenant Davis had been working with the ship's computer to analyze the message. "Based on the language patterns and the way they asked for help, I think these are peaceful people. The mathematical parts of their message show advanced thinking but no military codes." Chief Engineer Walsh looked at her calculations. "Admiral, it will take us 4 days to reach those coordinates at maximum speed. We will use most of our fuel getting there, but we can make it." Admiral Rodriguez listened to his people and made his decision. This was the moment he had been training for. His entire career. Earth's first chance to help someone in the galaxy. "We are going. All ships will prepare for immediate departure. I want us in hyperspace within 2 hours." The fleet's AI system called Atlas began working immediately. Atlas was one of the most advanced computers ever built and could process information faster than any human mind. It analyzed the alien message, calculated battle scenarios, and prepared tactical reports. "Admiral," Atlas said in its calm electronic voice, "based on the energy signatures in the alien distress signal, I calculate that we will arrive to find either empty space or an active combat situation. The attacking ships appear to use plasma-based weapons with limited range. Amy Johnson felt excitement building in her chest. After years of routine patrols and training exercises, they were finally going to do something that mattered. What do we know about the ships that are attacking them? Very little, Sam Davis admitted. But their energy signatures suggest weapons that are powerful, but not very advanced. They rely on overwhelming force rather than precision. Ben Torres was already thinking about tactics. If we arrive and find active combat, what are our rules of engagement? Admiral Rodriguez had been thinking about this question since the moment. He heard the alien message. We protect the ones who asked for help. Anyone who shoots at peaceful miners is someone we can shoot back at. Rita Walsh finished her calculations and looked up. Admiral, I recommend we take all 15 ships. If we are going to announce Earth's presence to the galaxy, we should do it with enough force to make sure everyone remembers. The Admiral nodded. Agreed. Send the word to all ships. We jumped together, and we arrived together. Across the fleet, thousands of men and women began preparing for humanity's first contact with alien life. Engineers checked weapon systems and shields. Medical teams prepared for unknown injuries. Communication officers worked on translation programs. Everyone knew they were about to make history. Captain Johnson stood on her bridge and watched her. Crew work. These were good people who had volunteered to protect Earth and explore the galaxy. Now they were going to protect aliens they had never met from enemies they did not understand. Captain, her communications officer said, Admiral Rodriguez is ready to jump. Amy looked at the stars outside her ship and thought about the beings who had sent the distress signal. Someone was afraid and alone in the darkness. Someone had called for help, and Earth had answered. All ships, this is Admiral Rodriguez. We are about to make first contact with alien life in the middle of a battle. Remember that we are representing all of humanity today. Stay calm, follow orders, and protect the innocent. Jump in 3, 2, 1. The 15 ships of the Terran Expeditionary Fleet disappeared into hyperspace, racing toward a distant star system where humanity would announce its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. They did not know they were about to save a peaceful species from destruction and terrify an empire of warriors who had never met anyone they could not defeat. In 4 days. The galaxy would learn that Earth's children were the kind of people who traveled across space to help strangers. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the asteroid field, like thunder breaking the silence of space. 15 ships appeared in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with the strange metal that Earth's engineers had learned to make stronger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The energy wave from their arrival spread outward, lighting up every sensor for millions of miles. Commander Thekmer was standing over Captain Zelenev when his sensor officer's voice cut through the noise on the Kronak bridge. Commander, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. Unknown ships, 15 vessels, moving into attack formation. Thekmer left the Vexian captain and moved to his command station. His confidence had not changed even though his boarding parties were reporting strange problems with the mining ship. The Vexians seemed to have hidden weapons that his warriors could not understand. But that was a small problem compared to whoever had just arrived. Show me, he ordered. The main screen displayed the human fleet spreading out across space. The ships looked unlike anything in the Kronak military database. They were smooth and deadly, built with curves that seemed to bend light around them. Each ship bristled with weapons that the Kronak computers could not identify. What species are they? Thekmer asked. Unknown, Commander. The computer has no record of these ship designs or energy signatures. Thekmer studied the formation. Whoever these newcomers were, they knew how to fight. The way they positioned their ships showed military training and tactical thinking. But he commanded 3 of the finest warships in the Chronog fleet. His crews were veterans of dozens of battles. No unknown species was going to frighten him away from valuable prey. Admiral Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance and watched the tactical display show him everything he needed to know. 3 large ships surrounding a smaller one. Weapons fire. The classic pattern of pirates attacking a helpless victim. Communications. Open a channel on all frequencies. He ordered. Captain Lisa Martinez had been preparing for this moment during the entire 4-day journey. She was Earth's best expert on first contact procedures and had prepared a message that used mathematical concepts that any advanced species should understand. Channel open, Admiral. Rodriguez nodded to Martinez. This was her moment to speak. For all of humanity. Unknown vessels. This is Admiral Carl Rodriguez of the Terran Expeditionary Fleet. We have received a distress signal from the mining vessel in your area. Please respond and state your intentions. The message went out in basic mathematical sequences, followed by the same words in the simple trade language that Atlas had constructed from the Vexian distress signal. If anyone was listening and wanted to talk, they would understand. Commander Thekmar received the message and sneered. Another weak species trying to interfere with Chronoc business. He had dealt with many such fools over the years. A show of force usually sent them running back to whatever safe world they came from. Target the lead ship, he ordered. Full plasma. Spread. Show them what happens to people who interfere with the Chronoc Empire. The 3 Chronoc ships turned their weapons toward the U's Defiance and fired. Streams of superheated plasma lanced across space toward the human flagship. It was enough firepower to destroy most ships in the galaxy. Admiral Rodriguez watched the plasma bolts approach on his tactical screen. Shields to full power. All ships, defensive positions. The plasma struck the Defiance's adaptive shielding system, and something amazing happened. Instead of breaking through or being absorbed, the energy was caught and redirected into the ship's power grid. The shields grew brighter and stronger with each hit. The weapons that were supposed to destroy. The human ship were actually making it more powerful. Commander Thekmar stared at his display in shock. What just happened? Why is their ship still there? Commander, their shields are using our plasma energy to strengthen themselves. Our weapons are making them stronger. For the first time in his military career, Thekmar felt fear. He had never seen technology like this. The Chronoc Empire had conquered dozens of worlds because their plasma weapons could overwhelm any defense. But these strangers had turned his greatest strength into their advantage. Captain Amy Johnson watched the enemy plasma harmlessly splash against the fleet's shields and felt her anger building. These aliens had been torturing peaceful miners, and now they were shooting at her. That was 2 mistakes too many. Admiral, requesting permission to return fire, she said into her communication device. Permission granted. Disable their weapons, but do not destroy the ships. We need prisoners who can answer questions. Amy smiled. The U's Thunderstrike had been built for exactly this kind of fight. Target their weapon arrays with railgun rounds. Precision shots only. The human ships opened fire with weapons that the galaxy had never seen before. Instead of energy beams or plasma bolts, they launched solid metal projectiles at incredible speed. The railgun rounds moved so fast they were almost impossible to track and hit with the force of small asteroids. The first Chronoc ship lost all of its forward weapons in a single volley. Metal rounds punched through armor that had been designed to stop plasma bolts and energy beams. The kinetic force ripped weapon systems out of their mountings and left gaping holes in the ship's hull. Thekmar felt his ship shake as the human weapons found their targets. Damage report. Forward weapons are gone, Commander. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. They are not trying to destroy us. They are cutting us apart piece by piece. The second Kronak ship tried to run. Its captain fired his engines at full power, hoping to escape into hyperspace before the humans could stop him. But the human ships moved faster than anything the Kronak had ever seen. 3 human destroyers caught the fleeing ship and disabled its engines with surgical precision. The third Kronak ship surrendered immediately. Its captain had watched 2 superior vessels get destroyed in minutes and decided that survival was more important than pride. Admiral Rodriguez opened communications again. Kronak vessels, cease all hostile actions and prepare to be boarded. Any further resistance will result in the destruction of your ships. Commander Thekmer looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead or injured. His weapons were gone. His engines were damaged. The humans had defeated his entire battle group in less than 15 minutes. This is Commander Thekmer of the Kronak Empire. We surrender. On board the mining ship Kelthara, Captain Zillineth watched the battle through her damaged sensors. The unknown ships had appeared like angels of war and defeated the Kronak fleet so quickly that she could hardly believe it was real. Her people had been saved by strangers who fought like nothing she had ever imagined. Admiral Rodriguez turned his attention to the mining ship. Open a channel to the vessel that sent the distress signal. Channel open, Admiral. This is Admiral Rodriguez. Are you safe? Do you need medical assistance? Captain Zillineth tried to speak, but found herself crying tears of relief. Her crew was alive. Her ship was damaged, but not destroyed. The humans had come across impossible distances to save people they had never met. This is Captain Zillineth of the Vexian Republic. We are alive because of you. Thank you for answering our call. Rodriguez felt something he had never experienced before. Pride in his species and sadness for the suffering they had not been able to prevent. We are sending medical teams to help your injured. You are safe now. Dr. Michelle Cooper was already suiting up to board the alien ship. She had trained for this moment her entire career, but never really believed it would happen. Now she was about to treat patients from another world with biology. She did not understand. Engineer Tony Garcia gathered his tools and prepared to help repair alien technology. Chief Security Officer Linda Hayes organized boarding parties to take control of the Kronak ships. Throughout the human fleet, people prepared to make first contact with beings from other worlds. Admiral Rodriguez looked at the tactical display showing 3 disabled enemy ships and 1 rescued mining vessel. In 15 minutes, humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy by defeating an aggressive empire and saving a peaceful species. He did not know that news of this battle would spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. He did not know that dozens of species would soon be asking for Earth's protection. He did not know that humanity had just become the galaxy's protector, whether they wanted the job or not. What he did know was that someone had called for help and Earth had answered. That was enough for now. Dr. Michelle Cooper floated through the airlock, connecting the USS Defiance to the damaged mining ship Kelthara. She carried medical supplies designed for human injuries and had no idea if any of them would work on alien biology. Behind her came a team of nurses and technicians who were just as nervous and excited as she was. The inside of the Vexian ship was beautiful in a way that took her breath away. Everything was made from crystal that glowed with soft light. The walls seemed to grow rather than being built, flowing together in curves that human architecture had never achieved. It was like walking inside a living jewel. Captain Zillineth met them in the main corridor. She was tall and thin, with skin that looked like clear crystal filled with moving light. Her face was alien, but her expressions were easy to understand. Pain, relief, gratitude, and wonder all showed clearly as she looked at the humans. Dr. Cooper? Zillineth said in careful English. The translation program that Lieutenant Nancy Brooks had been working on was already making progress with the Vexian language. Yes, I am Michelle Cooper. Where are you injured? Zillinef led them through the ship to a room where 6 Vexians lay on beds that seemed to be grown from the same crystal as the walls. Their injuries were clear, even to human eyes. Burns from energy weapons, cuts from flying metal, and broken bones from when the ship was hit. Michelle knelt beside the first patient and carefully examined the alien. The Vexian's biology was completely different from anything human, but pain was universal. She could see where the creature was hurt and what needed to be fixed. Can you understand me? She asked the injured Vexian. Yes, came the weak reply. You came to help us. Why? Michelle paused in her work. It was a good question, and she was not sure how to answer it. Because you asked for help, and we heard you. But we are strangers. You do not know us. That does not matter, Michelle said, as she began treating the burns with human medical gel. People who need help should get help. That is what we believe. The Vexian's crystal skin began to glow brighter as the human medicine took away the pain. Your people must be very good. Michelle smiled as she worked. We try to be. While the medical teams worked on the Vexian ship, engineer Tony Garcia was learning about alien technology. The Kelthara systems were damaged, but still amazing. Everything was designed to work in harmony with the natural flow of energy and matter. It was technology built by people who saw the universe as something to live with, rather than something to control. How do you make the crystal grow into the shapes you need? Tony asked the Vexian engineer, working beside him. We sing to it, came the reply. Each frequency makes the crystal grow in different ways. We learned this from our ancestors, who first left our homeworld. Tony watched in fascination as the alien hummed a complex melody and the broken crystal slowly began to repair itself. Human engineering was all about force and precision. Vexian engineering was about cooperation and harmony. Could you teach me that song? Tony asked. The Vexian engineer's skin glowed with pleasure. I would be honored to share our knowledge with someone who came so far to help us. On the captured Kronak ships, Chief Security Officer Linda Hayes was learning about a very different kind of alien culture. The Kronak were built for war from the moment they were born. Their ships were dark and efficient, designed only for conquest. And Destruction. Commander Vecmer sat in the detention area of the U's Defiance, his armor damaged and his pride broken. He had never been defeated in battle before, and could not understand how it had happened. The humans had weapons and shields that made no sense according to everything he knew about warfare. Why did you attack the mining ship? Linda asked through the translation system. Vecmer looked at her with eyes full of confusion and anger. They were weak. The weak exist to serve the strong. This is the natural order of the universe. Not in our part of the universe, Linda replied. In our part, the strong protect the weak. That makes no sense. Why would you waste strength protecting creatures that cannot protect themselves? Linda studied the alien warrior. He was not evil in the way humans understood evil. He was simply from a culture that had learned different rules about how the universe worked. Because protecting others makes us stronger, not weaker. When we help people, they help us. When we save lives, we make allies. When we fight for justice, we become worthy of the strength we have been given. Vecmer was quiet for a long time. Your people defeated 3 Kronak warships in minutes. You could conquer any world you chose. Why do you choose to protect instead of rule? Because ruling through fear makes you weaker in the long run. Protecting through strength makes you stronger forever. While the humans worked to help both species, Admiral Rodriguez was receiving reports that changed everything he thought he knew about the galaxy. The translation programs were working better every hour, and the information they revealed was shocking. Captain Zillineth sat in the Admiral's ready room, sipping a cup of human coffee that she found surprisingly pleasant. Around the table were the senior officers of the Terran fleet, all of them trying to understand what they had stepped into. The Galactic Coalition has 47 member species, Zillineth explained. Most of us are peaceful people who have specialized in different areas of knowledge. The Vexians mine and build. The Helix create art and music. The Quran study science and mathematics. We trade with each other and share what we learn. Lieutenant. Sam Davis leaned forward with interest. That sounds like a wonderful civilization. Why do the Kronak attack you? Because we cannot fight back. Our ships are not built for war. Our people do not know how to kill. We have been safe for so long that we forgot how to be dangerous. Admiral Rodriguez felt a chill as he began to understand. How many aggressive species are there like the Kronak? Too many, Zillineth said sadly. The Haktar Empire conquers worlds for slave labor. The Nexus Syndicate steals technology and sells it to the highest bidder. The Red Claw Raiders take whatever they want and destroy the rest. There are dozens of them, and they grow bolder every year. Captain Amy Johnson asked the question that everyone was thinking. Why does the Galactic Coalition not stop them? How can we? Our ships cannot fight their ships. Our people do not know how to make weapons of war. We have tried economic sanctions and diplomatic protests, but they laugh at us. The strong do what they want, and the weak suffer. That has been the way of the galaxy for centuries. Commander Ben Torres looked at the tactical reports from the Yao. Battle. Until now. Zillineth's crystal skin began to glow with hope. Yes, until now. In 15 minutes, you defeated a Kronak battle group that had conquered 6 worlds. You did something we thought was impossible. Admiral Rodriguez stood and walked to the window that showed the stars. Out there were billions of people on thousands of worlds, many of them living in fear of the next attack. Earth had stumbled into a galaxy where good people could not protect themselves from evil people. Captain Zillineth, does the Galactic Coalition have any kind of military force? We have patrol ships that watch for pirates and help with emergencies. But they are not warships. They cannot fight against real military forces. What would happen if Earth offered to help protect Coalition worlds from aggressive empires? Zillineth stood so quickly that she almost fell over. You would do that? You would protect people you have never met on worlds you have never seen? We just did, Rodriguez replied. The question is whether we should keep doing it. The room was quiet, as everyone thought about what that would mean. Earth had 15 ships in deep space and enough industrial capacity to build more. But they were talking about protecting an entire galaxy full of people and problems they did not understand. Admiral, Amy Johnson said, I think we have to try. These people need help, and we are the only ones who can give it. The risks are enormous, Ben Torres warned. We could make enemies of species we have never heard of. We could start wars that last for centuries. Lieutenant Nancy Brooks had been working on communications with both species and had learned something important. Admiral, I have been analyzing the Kronak military codes. Based on what I am seeing, they have been planning attacks on 17 more systems in the next 6 months. Zillineth gasped. 17 systems? That would be millions of innocent people. Admiral Rodriguez made his decision. Captain Martinez, prepare a message for Earth Command. Tell them we need to talk about humanity's role in galactic affairs. Tell them we just became the galaxy's police force, whether we plan to or not. As the message was prepared for the long journey back to Earth, the consequences of the rescue were already spreading across the galaxy. News traveled faster than ships, carried by quantum communication networks that connected every civilized world. The story was simple and shocking. An unknown species had appeared from nowhere, defeated a Kronok battle group in minutes, and then provided medical aid to both sides. The peaceful species were calling them saviors. The aggressive species were calling them a threat. Within days, the Galactic Coalition would vote to offer humanity membership and request their protection. Within weeks, dozens of distress signals would reach Earth from species under attack by various empires. Within months, the entire balance of power in the galaxy would shift as aggressive species reconsidered their plans in light of the new reality. The story of the human rescue spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. On every world connected to the quantum communication network, people heard the same incredible tale. An unknown species had received a distress call and traveled across space to save strangers from destruction. In 15 minutes, they had defeated one of the most feared military forces in the galaxy, and then helped both the victims and the attackers. President Helen Carter stood in the Situation Room, beneath the capital city of New Geneva, surrounded by advisors and military leaders who were trying to understand what had just happened. Admiral Rodriguez's message had arrived 6 hours ago, and the government was still trying to process the implications. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," President Carter said. "Our deep space fleet responded to an alien distress call, fought a battle with another alien species, and now the entire galaxy knows we exist?" General Robert Kim, the head of Earth's military forces, nodded grimly. "That is correct, Madam President. Admiral Rodriguez followed proper rescue protocols, but the consequences are far beyond anything we planned for." Secretary of State Janet Walsh had been analyzing the cultural data that the fleet had transmitted along with their report. "The situation is actually worse than that. According to the information from this Captain Zillaneth, there are dozens of aggressive species that have been attacking peaceful worlds for years. The peaceful species have no way to defend themselves." Dr. Kevin Stone, Earth's leading expert on sociology and alien cultures, leaned forward in his chair. "Madam President, we have accidentally become involved in a galactic Cold War. The aggressive species have been growing bolder because no one could stop them. Now someone can stop them, and that someone is us." President Carter felt the weight of billions of lives settling on her shoulders. When she had taken office, her biggest concerns were trade agreements and environmental protection. Now she was being asked to decide whether humanity should become the protector of an entire galaxy. "What are our options?" she asked. "We could try to withdraw," General Kim suggested. "Bring Admiral Rodriguez and his fleet back to Earth and pretend this never happened." "That will not work," Dr. Stone replied. "The galaxy knows we exist now. Both the peaceful and aggressive species will try to make contact with us. We cannot hide anymore." Secretary Walsh had been reviewing diplomatic protocols. "We could try to stay neutral, offer to mediate conflicts but not take sides in them." "That will not work either," said Dr. Stone. "The aggressive species see neutrality as weakness. If we do not actively protect the peaceful species, the aggressive ones will assume we are weak and test us." President Carter walked to the window and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Admiral Rodriguez was waiting for orders. Somewhere out there, peaceful people were hoping that Earth would help them. Somewhere out there, aggressive empires were planning their next attacks. What would it cost us to actually do this? To become the galaxy's protector? General Kim had been working on that question since the message arrived. We would need to expand our fleet dramatically. At least 100 ships to start with, maybe. More. We would need to establish bases in multiple star systems. We would need to train thousands of new crew members. And the benefits? Secretary Walsh smiled for the first time all day. Access to alien technology and knowledge that could advance human civilization by centuries. Trade opportunities with dozens of species. scientific discoveries that could solve every major problem on Earth. Dr. Stone added his perspective. Most importantly, we would be doing the right thing. We would be using our strength to protect people who cannot protect themselves. That is the kind of species I want humanity to be. President Carter made her decision. Contact Admiral Rodriguez. Tell him to establish diplomatic relations with both species and gather as much information as possible about the galactic situation. We are going to need a lot more data before we commit to anything. And if he receives more distress calls while he is out there, General Kim asked, he answers them. We do not abandon people who ask for our help. 6 months later, Admiral Amy Johnson stood on the bridge of the UE's Thunderstrike and watched her expanded fleet move through hyperspace toward another emergency. She had been promoted to Admiral after the successful rescue of the Vexian miners, and now commanded the Deep Space Protection Fleet. The fleet had grown from 15 ships to 47. Earth's shipyards were working around the clock to build more vessels, and thousands of volunteers were training for deep space service. The galaxy's cry for help had awakened something in humanity that had been sleeping for too long. Admiral, we are approaching the coordinates, reported Captain Frank Hayes from the navigation station. Amy nodded. This was their 19th rescue mission in 6 months. Word of Earth's protection service had spread quickly, and distress calls were arriving faster than they could respond to them. What do we know about this situation? She asked. Lieutenant Colonel Sandra White, the fleet's intelligence officer, consulted her datapad. The Helix Confederation is under attack by the Red Claw Raiders. 3 systems, 12 inhabited worlds, approximately 40 million civilians. The Raiders are using their standard tactics of overwhelming force, followed by slavery and resource extraction. Amy felt her anger building. The Red Claw Raiders were one of the worst aggressive species in the galaxy. They specialized in attacking artistic and cultural centers, destroying beautiful things just because they could. How many Raider ships are we looking at? 26 warships, Admiral. It is one of their largest fleets. Amy smiled grimly. 6 months ago, 26 enemy ships would have been a serious threat. Today, with 47 human ships equipped with the latest weapons and shields, it was just another day at the office. Signal the fleet. Combat Formation Alpha. We are going to send these raiders a message they will never forget. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace in the middle of the Helix system and immediately went to work. The Red Claw Raider ships were fast and aggressive, but they had never faced weapons like the ones humanity brought to battle. The fight lasted 8 minutes. When it was over, 26 Raider ships were floating helplessly in space, with their weapons destroyed and their crews surrendering. Not a single human ship had taken serious damage. Admiral Johnson opened communications to the Helix worlds below. This is Admiral Amy Johnson of the Terran Deep Space Protection Fleet. The Red Claw Raiders have been defeated. Your worlds are safe. The response from the planet was a song of gratitude that brought tears to the eyes of everyone who heard it. The Helix were artists and musicians, and their way of saying thank you was the most beautiful sound the humans had ever experienced. Back on Earth, President Carter was meeting with Captain Zillaneth, who had become the official representative of the Galactic Coalition. The Vexian had been living on Earth for 3 months, serving as an ambassador and cultural advisor. How many Coalition worlds have requested protection from Earth? The President asked. All of them, Zillaneth replied. Every peaceful species in the galaxy wants to know that human ships are watching over them. Your people have done something we thought was impossible. What about the aggressive species? How are they reacting? Zillaneth's crystal skin glowed with satisfaction. They are afraid. For the first time in centuries, the strong fear the consequences of attacking the weak. 3 empires have already agreed to peace treaties rather than risk fighting human ships. President Carter felt pride in her species, mixed with concern about the future. Are we making the galaxy safer, or just changing who has the power? You are making it safer, Zillaneth said with conviction. Your people do not conquer. You do not enslave. You do not destroy for pleasure. You protect, and then you leave. That is something the galaxy has never seen before. Dr. Stone entered the room with a data pad full of reports. Madam President, I have the latest statistics from our protection operations. In 6 months, we have prevented 14 major attacks, liberated 23 conquered worlds, and established peaceful relations with 31 species. Any problems? The usual complaints from the aggressive species about human interference. In galactic affairs, a few diplomatic protests about our military buildup. Nothing serious. President Carter nodded. What about our own people? How is Earth handling its new role? Better than expected, Dr. Stone replied. Public support for the protection fleet is at 87%. Military recruitment is up 300%. The economic benefits from alien trade are already showing in improved living standards. Zillaneth looked out the window at Earth's blue sky and white clouds. Your world is beautiful. No wonder your people are so good at protecting beautiful things. 6 months after the rescue of a simple mining ship, humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or rulers, but as the guardians that others could call upon when darkness threatened to destroy the light. Admiral Rodriguez, now commanding the expanded Terran Expeditionary Force from Earth's newest starbase, sat in his office reviewing the latest batch of distress signals. 43. Calls for help had arrived in the past week. Each one represented people in danger who trusted that Earth would come to save them.